and I'm very happy today to discuss with the MENA members the essential components of teaching excellence in higher education. So before we start that, what is teaching excellence? If I can ask that question, I would like any of you to have an answer in his mind about what is it? What is a teaching excellence? So now, if I ask everyone to tell me about the teaching excellence, definitely we're going to have a different definitions. So why is that? Because there is no universal accepted definition for teaching excellence. And then we can ask ourselves, so why is that? Because teaching is complex, multifaceted, and it is context specific. So it means different thing in different discipline, different institution. Also, the perception of teaching excellence is different if you ask the student, if you ask the faculty, if you ask the administrator, or they're gonna look at it from different perspective. Now, also, if you think about the teaching philosophy, and here I would like just to mention that the philosophy, if you think about it, will help in identifying the role of the faculty and identifying the role of the student. So for different philosophy, then this role are going to be different. So with that, that will add to the complexity of defining excellence in teaching. So now, so how we're gonna have a definition or what the definition should focus on? So the definition should focus on teaching excellence from the perspective of teaching quality and student learning. So that's what are going to look at it from the discussion or from what I'm going to present to you. So if you think about what's happening here, the definition should include the three components of excellence. And I'm going to discuss those three components of excellence in my presentation. But also at the same time, let's try to have like a general meaning for excellence. What's excellence mean in general? So looking at the general terms, excellence means exceeding the national norm of accomplishment. So what does that mean? You have like superior, exceptional, and outstanding performance. So that's just like an introduction to think about the excellence and the meaning of excellence. Now, what are these components? So the components are three: the teaching quality, the learning environment, and student outcome. So with that, then you need to think about, okay, what's in the teaching quality? So we would like to have a superior teaching quality in relation to the pedagogy, the instructional design, and the assessment. The learning environment is the learning environment, the facilities, the resources, the culture. So is it supportive of student learning? The student outcome in terms of knowledge, skills, and attitude. So we're going to discuss what the meaning on those. So if you think about the excellence, you need to include all the three components. You can't just say like, okay, we're going to focus on the teaching quality and then ignore the learning environment, for example. So the emphasis should be on all the three components. So we're going to start with the first one, the teaching the teaching quality. So in the teaching quality, we have the pedagogy, the instructional design, and the assessment. So in the pedagogy or the science of teaching, I would like just to focus into two things, although there is a lot that is being involved. The learning theory is very important. Knowing about the foundational education is very important. How you can actively involve the student in the learning process is very important. So now, for example, we are in the higher education, we are teaching adults. What do you think about learning about adult learning theory? Is that going to be helpful? Now, even if you have the background of the major educational theory, that will be very helpful if you would like your faculty to be innovative, for example. So if you like the faculty to be innovative without knowing the basic foundation, is going to be harder. Or otherwise, you will like them just to be a follower, copy what others they do. And with that, there is no opportunity for them to be innovative and to excel and to be excellent teacher. The instructional design. So the instructional design should be effective, efficient, appealing, and enduring. So here I'm not going to talk about the instructional design model and how you do instruction, because that is a lot. But the highlight, the instruction should be effective, no doubt, should be efficient, should be appealing. What does that mean? It motivate and interest the learner. And enduring, we mean by enduring, so you help the student to encode the information in their long-term memory, rather than try to just to maintain the information in their working memory. Also, it is important with instructional design, if I can just give you the outline, so they should be like analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. So during the process of the instructional design, the goals and objectives will be identified. And accordingly, there will be a selection of learning activities and the development of the assessment to make sure you measure that the student they achieve those learning objectives. Now, it is important that the objectives and the assessment should be aligned. So what does that mean? You can tell the student the objective of this lesson is this, and then you ask them about something different. So the question has to be aligned with the objectives. For the assessment, so we have formative, we have summative, and we have narrative. So the formative is mainly to help the student to monitor the progress of their learning. So it's not going to be counted towards the final grade. But the summative is going to be counted towards the final grade. So with that, then, the summative has to be fair and timely. So you remember when we said like the objectives should be should be aligned with the assessment. It's not going to be fair, for example, if you state objective and then you ask about something else. That can be one of the examples. And if I have the chance, I can give you more later. For the narrative assessment, this is mainly also formative. So you give the student narrative description of their performance, and that include non-cognitive achievement. So usually you observe the student, how they interact, and how they follow direction and so on, and do they take the formative and those kind of things. And at the same times also you can have the student who work with them to give some kind of evaluation about the student, and that's just like a formative for the student. By the end of the course, you will provide that information to the student for improvement. Now, if I ask you a question, who is responsible for the selection of the teaching method, the content, development of the assessment, and so on? Who is responsible for doing all that? It's the faculty, it's the teacher. So if the teacher role is very important in the teaching quality, then we have to think about faculty development. We have to develop them professionally. That's very, very important. So then the question is going to be, what are we going to develop? So the important part here, there is some core competency that the faculty or the teacher, they have to acquire. And those are learning competency, social competency, educational competency, and technology competency. So with the learning competency, we would like to make sure the faculty are willing to improve their teaching effectiveness. And they take the initiative and they take the responsibility for their professional development. The social competency, how they communicate with a student of a diverse background, how they cooperate, how they collaborate with others. The educational competency, and this is very important, do they have the passion for the educational career? They need to develop the knowledge about what they teach, their discipline, the pedagogy, and the learning psychology. And now if I can bring to your attention here, there are some faculty who they feel like teaching is just something that I have to do, but it is not a major thing for me. My major role is research, how I bring money to the school, and that is going to be my focus. They ask me to teach, yes, I will teach, but do you think they're going to have the passion for being a good teacher? Are they going to develop themselves, learning more about the psychology of learning, the pedagogy, and so on? So the last competency, which is the technology competency, do the faculty have the ability to integrate the modern technology to enhance the learning outcome? Now, so if these are the topic or these are the competency that we would like the faculty to have, So how are we going to do that? By intervention. So intervention can be in form of workshop, seminar, short courses, and it can be maybe a longitudinal program. So that's very important. And it has been shown that this intervention can positively change the faculty behavior and can improve the outcome for the institution. So the faculty development is very important that we need to think about if we are interested to improve the quality of teaching. So, okay, we deliver all these intervention, then we would like also to know, did the faculty acquire that? And part of that is through the faculty evaluation. So usually the evaluation of faculty has been done by student rating, peer review of teaching, self-evaluation. The faculty, that they can set a goal for themselves and they have a plan, and then they look at if they reach that goal or not, and they have some kind of reflection and feedback. There are others who also use a scholarship, use the award and the learning outcomes for evaluation faculty. So the evaluation is important because it will help the faculty, will be used as metrics for them to identify their strengths and their weaknesses. And now is being used as a criteria for promotion. So it become very important, a very important factor. So the faculty who they strive to do very well, I feel like it is very important to recognize them and to give them award for excellence. So the incentive to continue striving for excellence is very important. So now let me just give you, like, after we talk about what we need to develop and how we evaluate, let me give you the criteria or the characteristic of an excellent teacher. So excellent teacher, they always keep a student at the heart of their teaching. So what does that mean? They teach beyond content delivery. They motivate a student to reach their highest potential. They care about the student well-being and success. It's not like I'm going to come to the class, I'm going to deliver my content, and I'm done with you. No. Excellent teacher also view learning as a continuum. So that it is never too soon or too late for learning. So they are actively participate in ongoing professional development. They always seek out opportunity for professional development. They continually seeking constructive feedback for improvement. And that's also very important. They also set the bar very high for themselves. They can set if you are trying to reach the excellence, to be an excellent teacher, then you need to think about setting the bar very high. So when you reach that bar, so you are there and become an excellent teacher. See now, let me just mention something about the development of expertise. Because being excellent teacher, you can't just be excellent teacher, start from a novice, all of a sudden you are expert teacher. It will take some time. And that should be part of the understanding to reach that. So usually the development of expertise needs three things. Motivation to attend to the task. Deliberate practice. You have to be dedicated. It is many years of dedicated time for practice. And you receive corrective feedback. So if that's happening, then yes, that will help you to reach that goal. So now this will cover most of the first component, the teaching quality. Now we're going to go to the second component, which is the learning environment. So the learning environment include the facilities, the resources, and the culture. So that learning environment should promote student attainment of competency required for their future jobs. Now, the facilities should support the learning that will be effective. And most of what's happening right now, you can make the learner just sitting down and receiving a receiver of information. You have to involve the learner in the learning process. So you need to design the facilities to support student-centered learning and group activities. So what does that mean? If your institution, if the only thing that they have is large lecture halls, that might be difficult to move from teacher center to a learner center. The resources in terms of financial, the library, the information technology, and the information technology staff is very, very important too. The culture, the quality of interaction between the individual within the institution, the governing structure, the value and the belief of the member of that institution is also very important. See, now I'm going to share with you. See, now, this is one of the facilities that we have at our institution. And if you see here, you see the students are working in a small group. And we have the technology support because everything that the student interact with is related to technology. All these slides are online, are virtual, they are not actual slides. The student, they have a program that they go and they ask them to question, and in a group, they interact and they try to identify structure, answer questions, and also try to solve problems. So that's mainly facilitated by what we have. And if you can see, we have the infrastructure for that. And now when COVID happened, and for us to move from what we used to do and to adapt to the COVID environment, What I mean by that, so we can maintain the social distancing, wearing the mask, and regularly wash your hand and so on. What we did, those 4 students, we asked only 2 of them to be in person. The other 2, they have to work with those 2 remotely. And we provide them with a WebEx communication group so they can interact. So with the infrastructure that we had, the adaptation to COVID was not difficult. Although it is not the optimum, but we adapt in a way that everybody was also involved, but rather than being in person, the interaction becomes remotely for some of the students. Okay, now the last part, which is the student outcomes. So the student outcomes, usually they look at it from the knowledge, skill, and attitude, or the cognitive domain, the psychomotor, and the affective domains. The first part, the knowledge part, is about the fact, the concept, the procedure. And the skill part is mainly about the manual or the physical skills that require for practice. So how they perform a procedure. And then that the attitude is mainly deals with feeling, emotion, and values. Now, the question that we ask, do the student have the ability or the willingness to better communicate? We're talking here about their communication style. Do they have the, do they see value in teamwork? Because that is very important. And if you're going to think about, yes, we achieve the knowledge part, the examination, the result of the national exam, we are above average, we're doing very fine. Our student, with the performing the procedure, they do very well. But if you didn't pay attention to the attitude, that can be also a problem. Because you're gonna ask yourself, so do the student achieve the program goals and are competent for the job? If you're gonna graduate a student that with the knowledge, the skill, and everything, but they don't have the attitude to work in a team, for example, the way they communicate is very negative. That is going to be problematic. So with that, then there's a lot of things that you need to consider. You are not going to rely on just one outcome. You need to think about all of the outcomes together and to think about, my graduate achieve all the goals of the program so they can compete when they graduate for the job. So that's very important. Now, I'm going just to supplement the outcome. Was talking a little bit about the student support, because sometimes people, they ignore the support and they just leave the student to do everything themselves. So usually the support can be academic, career, or personal. So with the academic, you help them to do better in their exams. The tutoring, skill development, the mentoring. With the career, they need to know about their career options, what type of job that they need to apply for, which one that will fit them better than the others, and so on. For the personal support, you need to think about the students. There is a lot of things that can distract them from their learning. Part of that can be something has to do with stress, for example, anxiety, worrying about how I'm going to pay all my debt. So giving the students some kind of support in those areas is very helpful. And if I can share with you one of the things that we did in the academic support, because sometimes with the academic support, we focus on how the student remember the information. But the skills, which is very important, sometimes we ignore. So what we do in our school, as an example of skill development, we require the student to take learning and study strategy inventory. Is a questionnaire, and that questionnaire has about 60 questions that will assess 10 skills. These skills are the anxiety, attitude, concentration, information processing, motivation, selecting main idea, self-testing, test strategy, time management, and using the available academic resources. So why did we do that? We would like to help the student to be aware of their strengths and weaknesses in relation to the study strategies. And also that will tell us as the schools what area that we need to focus on in order to provide some kind of workshop for all the students. And also will be very helpful for somebody like me who meet with the student to try to diagnose what is missing for that student so they can get the coaching and they can get the help so they can excel. Sometimes people, they don't see like that is very important. And I can tell you, and sometimes faculty can be very judgmental. What I mean by that, like for example, they see like one student struggle in multiple courses, and then they say like, okay, this school is not the right school for that student. How did you know? You didn't know what was the reason for not performing well. So by looking at those skills, you can figure out what's happening. It can be they don't have the skill of managing their time. And the thing that I see a lot is the anxiety. They are very stressed. So with coaching on the anxiety, and sometimes we if they need a psychiatry, they can go and then we address that. And by doing that, then you support the student to be successful. So the same student, after you give that support, is performing very well. So just to conclude, in order to achieve teaching excellence, We need to develop the teacher. We need to improve the learning environment. We need to support student success and well-being. And we need to commit to continuous quality improvement. So that is very important. And if you think about the continuous quality improvement, what will help with that, if there is accrediting organization that will accredit the school from time to time to see if they meet the minimum standard. So that will help with developing this culture of continuous quality improvement. So with that, thank you very much.
So please remember, if we all help and do a little bit, it will make a big difference.